I put public safety before politics because I'm not an activist. I'm a prosecutor. And as the head of DOJ, we'll make a commitment to the rule of law. When you take the oath to defend the Constitution, you don't cross a couple of your fingers and say, except for these ones that I don't like or I don't agree with. That's not your job as a state's lawyer. The EPA regulations that were announced on June 2nd, if those go into effect, they're going to have a very disproportionate harmful effect on Wisconsin compared to other states. We're #1 for manufacturing in America, but we get 62% of our electrical power from coal-fired energy plants. And those plants are clean coal burning plants. So we've got to make sure that when regulations like that go into effect, we don't see Wisconsin have jobs just drain right out of our state, because if they go to Arizona, solar power works better there. Or perhaps on the Great Plains, wind power works better. For Wisconsin, the only reasonable source of reliable and affordable electrical power we have is coal energy right now. And right now, if those regulations went into effect the way they were announced on June 2nd, every one of our plants would have to shut down or spend billions of dollars to get up to the standards. And when they do that, that's going to cost every single consumer a lot more in their energy bill. That will disproportionately affect seniors who have fixed incomes. And it's also going to hit them again when manufacturers can't afford to pay for those energy bills and leave the state, or agriculture can't keep doing its work. And all of a sudden we're going to see people unemployed on top of the higher electricity bills.
So you're serving notice that you're going to defend the state against the EPA regulations. If they impose those, you're going to challenge that. That's
absolutely. If they're imposed the way they were written on June 2nd, I will. They need to strike a balance between environmental regulations and the ability of Wisconsin to have jobs for its people.
Susan?
Look, we can create jobs without having job creation or job growth come at the expense of our environment. I was surprised when Brad, early on in February, talked about joining Republican attorneys general in suing the EPA over carbon dioxide emissions. You know, I grew up hunting and fishing and enjoying natural resources with my father. We love to walk the marshes and go in the woods. And the reality is, it's not a partisan issue when we talk about having clean air and clean water to breathe, when we talk about preserving our natural resources. And so I'm concerned when we talk about, and Brad has talked about, creating a solicitor general, a political appointee who's going to take on the federal government, whether that's the EPA, whether that's going after the Affordable Care Act. I don't think that our attorney general should be engaging in those types of activist approaches.